Yeah, I think it's been a drastic improvement from the spring, just because I think the guys did a good job this summer, studying, learning, a much better job of knowing what to do and having ideas of their assignments coming in. So we're a lot further along than we were by the last of spring. We still got a ways to go. I mean, we got to continue to make those strides, but. Right, so far it's been a pleasant surprise, really, with the work ethic and things, the way we've done, and everything we've emphasized, they've answered. So.
Front right, Coach. You guys had a couple of edge rushers, Jalen specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask about him. Just a guy who's not necessarily like traditional pass rusher size, but has definitely done it at a high level. Just what does he bring to the table for y'all?
Yeah, he's a special talent, especially when it comes time to pin it back and go rush. Now, we haven't done any real third down stuff, so everything he's done right now has really been sitting on first, second down, so he hasn't really had the opportunities to do those. But he's been very productive every practice, really, when he gets opportunity to rush the quarterback. Did some things today, and he's got a good, his physical tool set's pretty amazing. He's a very talented individual. We just got to get him on the right track and make sure I'm putting him in the right spots.
What have you seen? What have you seen of the linebackers so far in camp?
Yep. Linebacker core, again, I think we kind of got a pretty good competition there. I don't know how it's going to pan out. We just got our second day of pads in, so we're going to have to see how that goes. But we got about 6 of them that are competing, and I kind of almost see it right now as nobody's really stepped up and pulled away from the pack. So the emphasis there we kind of gave to them is that one is they've got to be productive and consistent on every down. That's the heartbeat of any defense, I kind of emphasized with them last night about doing a much better job of communicating. They all did that. That's great. But I think the things right there that we've got to do as a whole is make sure communication is good, putting the rest of the other 11 at ease, and being alignment, assignment, those type of things, and then. You really want to see those guys, elevate. This is a linebacker-driven defense. There's going to give them a lot of situations. They're one-on-ones. They're scraped to they're going to be the free hitter at the point of attack, and they've got to answer the bell and be productive.
Second row in the middle.
Coach, with so many new faces beyond just all the transfers, but compared to the spring, there's 20 new players that weren't here. How has it been installing your defense with them and now that you have them on the field, and how is that? What is the process of putting that together?
Yeah, well, most of them were here all summer, which gave them a huge jump start on the mental part. The whole summer focus was really knowing what to do, in the defense, and then we kind of focused, obviously in the fall, of how, and then the situations that we had to make adjustments to. But I think that part. I think those guys did a good job. I think the guys are all blended in. We got some freshmen. Obviously, the heads are spinning. It's early part of fall camp. Their heads are spinning. There's a lot at them. The tempo, probably of practice, is a head spinner. For a lot of the high school kid comes out and it's not like anything they've seen. So the young guys are making it. Obviously, it's a huge adjustment. We're probably not gonna be able to judge them until it stays 7, 8, 9. So when things slow down a little bit and they get it clicking.
Ron, you've been at this a good while.
Because it's the hair. Is that what you're saying?
But how much of a challenge has it been over those years to adapt as the game has changed on both sides of the ball, really?
Yeah, it has. I love that part. I love football, so I love studying and seeing what's new and what the trends are. And it has changed so much that if you're not, that's the way this game is. So if you're not up on the latest things and what to do and what's the offense trying to do to attack you and how you're going to adjust to it and handle it, you can fall behind real quick. I love that part of it, and I think our kids are really enjoying it and figuring out, what we really want to do is we want to raise our football IQ as a defense, and not just, we talked about being a 4-dimensional player, about knowing my job, knowing everybody in my room's job, but then, knowing what the offense is trying to do and how they're trying to attack us. And, I think those things, as we develop the IQ defensively, things will slow down for a lot of them. We'll go see our kids really progress.
Ron, what are some things you guys are looking for in the first scrimmage on Saturday? What sort of test does that provide for your defense this early?
Yeah, first thing was there's two basic things. We talk a goal coming in the spring. So, hey, we got to eliminate unforced errors, pre-snap errors. Like, can I get lined up right? Do I know where my eyes are supposed to be? You know, do I know what my key is? You know, those basic things, right? And then the second one is the tempo of the game. You know, biggest thing we went, a big emphasis today was, is playing fast, figuring out how fast you can play. You know, and playing at a different speed of this game, and that takes time to develop. It really does. So I thought our kids did a good job answering that. And that will be the emphasis the next 4 days. Eliminate the pre-snap penalties. If you ain't in the right spots, you can't get lined up. Hey, we got problems. That can eliminate a lot of mistakes on defense just because people can't adjust the formations properly, or kids can't get precise on their alignments. And then the other thing is just the speed we play the game at. That's going to be the big goal going through this spring. Or through the fall camp. Yeah.
I think the other day we saw with Keldric maybe working a little bit at defensive end. How capable is he to move around that defensive front for you guys?
Yeah, well, again, he played jack most of the spring. A lot of our 4-down stuff, it's the same thing. So he was doing it half the daggum time. So we moved him to end. He's 290 pounds, by summertime. So he's kind of, he's filled that spot. He's in there right now fighting for the job. I don't know how it's going to pan out over the next, couple weeks, but he's going to be an impact player for us this season. Yeah.
Hi, Ron. Brian Matthews here. What have you seen out of Bobby Jamison-Travis, the JUCO defensive lineman, and where do you see him fitting in, and do you think he can help you guys out this fall?
Yeah, he's a special talent on tools. He has all the talent and stuff. He was not here with us this summer, so he's a little far behind. So we're trying to play catch up with him on a mental standpoint, what's going on and what he has to do. He will impact and he'll be a big part because he's a talented individual. So he's got to play himself into shape. He wasn't here for the summer conditioning, weightlifting, all that kind of stuff. Probably a little bit out of shape, a little behind mentally right now. So we haven't really seen what he's capable of doing.
Ron, Brian Stoltz. What have you seen leadership-wise from Keontae and Nehemiah in the secondary?
Yeah. Both of them, along with there's about 6, 7 guys that we kind of lead on that they are, the leadership right now is probably more so from how they conduct their business. We would like it to step into more so how I can lead the individuals on this football team to become better. I think we need to take some strides forward on that. If I'm being blunt about it, we got to take strides forward. The idea of leadership is how can I help others around me, be the best they can be. How can I lead someplace they can't go by themselves? And so they're doing a lot of things of being the player on and off the field that we want them to be. I need to pull other people with them.
Second row in the middle.
As following up on that, we saw in the practice last week that it seemed at least like some freshmen were shadowing some of the more veteran players in the secondary, especially. I guess, has that been something you've been doing to try to? You talked about the freshmen's head spinning earlier.
Yeah.
Has that helped them kind of get their feet under them?
Yeah, we want them to get as many reps as possible. A lot of times so anytime we get in those situations we can do it, we're trying to get them behind a veteran so they can see the alignments, the adjustments, what should they sound like? What kind of communications should they be making on the field? How can they talk to each other? Those things will hopefully help bring them on a lot faster.
Down the middle. So what does that do for defense to have 2 guys like that big to be on the field right next to each other?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're both really good. They're both really good players, and you're gonna need that in this conference. That's what it is. It's a man's conference. Especially up front. And that the D line, O line, D line, those guys up front kind of set the tempo of the ball game. They're gonna control it for you. Skilled guys can make big plays, but you're gonna win the game up front. So the more of those guys we got playing that category that can play big, play physical, control the line of scrimmage, we're going to be in better shape.
Ron, I remember in the spring you said you wanted about 25 guys that you really felt like could contribute at any given moment within the defense. Where do you feel like you guys are at right now, and kind of what's the progression of getting guys who you think can contribute in the 2 deep?
Yeah, well, if you today, as opposed to where I'm going to say in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it should be probably drastically different. But right now, I would say we're probably at the 15, 16 mark. there's 7, 8 guys. They got to figure out the tempo you got to play the game with, the way you're supposed to communicate, the consistency to do my job, and those type of things. So we got a ways to go, but we have the time to do it. So as long as we make progress like I thought we did today, and we continue to do that, then I don't know if it'll be game 1, but hopefully maybe it's by game 2, 3, 4, somewhere in there. We're getting to that mark. We got guys that can play the game, and we're not losing anything drop off. And it creates a lot of depth on your defense.
Got 2 more, Jason, and then Brian.
Ron, you talked about the linebackers, the depth there. Obviously, you've added some pieces, but what have you seen out of some holdover guys that we didn't see much of last year? Eugene Asante and Robert Woodyard. How have those guys progressed really since the spring, too?
Yeah, I think Eugene has made some huge strides, like the things we're talking about. He's a physical talent, runs well, plays hard, plays with excitement, emotions. He's all that kind of stuff you're looking for. We're just trying to really through the summer. I thought he did a good job though of understanding the defense more, and that's put him in a spot that right now he's in a spot to go compete for a starting job. Robert, same thing. Again with him, he's young, and he's still trying to figure this thing out. He's got to. I think the next 10 days will be big for him. That's what I say. If you want to get in the hunt, it's about consistency on a daily basis.
Yes, Ron. I remember in the spring, Kai and Lee and Keldric Faulk were guys who stood out early as far as the freshmen go. Any of the new freshmen caught your eye so far through the first 3 or 4 practices?
There's a lot of them, really. I mean, I think I think we have a very talented, especially I think the skill positions, the DB positions. I think we got a really talented group. So I would say all of them has flashed at times, just not on a consistent basis. But I think that's coming, and hopefully we'll see it maybe Saturday.
Medical Properties Trust, at the very heart of healthcare.